What brings me to this rant is that I was watching a young lady, a news broadcast. Let me show you a picture of this young lady, if I can. There she is, one of the local newscasters in the area. This young lady actually is of the African continent. I forgot exactly which country she comes from, but as a child her family moved a lot and she ended up in the United States, and actually she spent more time among Europeans in the United States than she did coming from that continent. Thus you can tell if you watched her by her diction. Her name is, let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Mugo Odegwe, something to that effect. I think this is a beautiful young lady, and I love the sisters that can, not only are they physically attractive, but they can talk and articulate and dress with some type of respect. I like that. So that's very attractive to me, and it should be attractive to male or female when you see a person that carries themselves in a dignified manner. Now, I go from watching this young lady and I decide to check my subscriptions on YouTube, and then there is this video somebody made, and I guess it's supposed to be very positive, uplifting the black woman, the soul sisters, and it's dedicated to black beauty. I'm glad it's not soul beauty, it's black beauty. As you know, I don't like that word black. That's something that was created by racists. Black is associated with racism and racists. It has nothing to do with the empowerment, the dignity, the honor, the respect, the liberation of dark-skinned people. Black was created to degrade, to demoralize, and to name a product. Those called black people are a product of racists. We talked about that before. But let me go on to, before my time expires, let me rant and get this off my chest very quickly. What really upsets me, why, not only on YouTube, but on Facebook and other social media, I understand the intent by certain men, and I guess men are the one who's making these videos. It could be sisters also, but I really doubt it. Women, well, women do like looking at women nowadays. But we always, when we're talking about black beauty, when we're talking about the black woman and her beauty, it's always physical. And so this video, I went from watching this sister, this beautiful lady, I went from watching her to a video showing the soul sisters who are lost, running up and down the runway, fashion runway, whatever it is, you know, in these bikinis and these underwear. You got, of course, you got that little string between the crack of your butt and all that type of thing. Let me make something perfectly clear. As a man, you are attracted to a woman's physical appearance, her breasts, her backside, her legs, her thighs, and so forth. That's natural. However, as a man, listen to me. As a man, no real man will parade his woman in front of the world with a string up her backside and got her vagina all puffed up in the public, run around naked for other men to watch and other women who are like that to lust after. No real man wants to see his woman like that. Again, as a male, you admire the physical form. But as a man, you want to protect that woman. You want to protect that form. You want to be jealous. You don't want the world to see what I'm getting. I don't want the world to see my woman's backside. I don't want the world to see my woman's breast. That's all for me. I'm selfish and I'm greedy when it comes to my woman. But you're not like that, because you think, and you have been, your mind has been formed by the racists who exploit their women, who use their women to attract and to make other men docile so they can easily exploit you and rape you and murder you and take what you got. And that's what they have used the Caucasian woman for hundreds of years, and it still works. Because as long as you have the pink woman on your arm, then you will not fight for yourself. You will have no real love for yourself. And we're supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be happy. And on the comments, you have these men who are lust-filled. Oh, that's beautiful and blah, blah. But it's not from a point of view of just admiration, admiring the human body. Is lust. And again, no man wants to see his woman. No real man gonna put his woman out there. There's a thing called privacy. There's a thing called having shame. Y'all don't have no shame no more. You have no kind of morality because the church has failed, because Islam has failed. These religions have failed to be the proper examples of what morality is, and honor and dignity and self-respect. So you have no shame when a woman, if you suddenly grab her bra and tear her bra loose and she shows her bare breast, she's supposed to be able to have shame. And as soon as that happens, she grabs her breast so you can't see it. She grabs her panties so that you can't see her butt and her vagina. And you got to have some kind of shame. But here you are, this is Black Beauty on the fashion walk. And you got your woman with her breasts and her cracking her butt up and down. She has no shame. She has no morality, no dignity, no self-respect. And above all, when you see that this woman is doing this, then clearly she has no man. The soul woman of America has no man. Dark-skinned women around the earth have no men, because no man is going to tolerate their woman being exposed like that before the world. I'm jealous. I'm greedy. I don't want you to see my woman. My woman is all for me. But we have the mentality of racists, and we treat our women the same way like racists treat their women. So the Caucasian pink racist male takes his woman and puts her shame, and puts her and makes her, she goes up and down the runway with her breasts all hanging out and her vagina all puffed up with this cloth and this string up her backside. that's supposed to be sexy. It's exploitation. It's exploitation in the guise of sexy. We need to put, if you want to show the beauty of black women, why don't you show our sisters who dress with dignity, with self-respect, who are not lost, who are not going to allow themselves to be exploited by no man, whether it's her own man or some alien man. Sisters would show their creativity in these thoughts and their fashion sense and their clothes on showing who they are and express themselves. But you know, when you have somebody, when you make them take their clothes off, one of the things that an abuser does to shame you, take your clothes off. Show your shame. Because see, this is private. This is something that's supposed to only belong to you and the one that you close to, the one that you love. But an abuser, a criminal, in order to shame you, because I run this, to make you submit and bow down to them. And this is what it shows, that the woman has bowed down and submit to an ignorant man who exploits her for his purpose. And he may give her $100,000, $1 million. Oh, you a supermodel. In reality, you have become, sisters, you have become a super slut and you are a whore. But then when you are caught, when you are involved in this type of behavior, and then some of y'all, you smoke and you drink and you cuss, then when somebody call you a whore, somebody call you a slut, then you want to get all angry and outrageous. When that is how you portray yourself, in fact, that is actually what you are and what you have become, because you have no real man to protect you. The Caucasian pink woman has no man. She has a slave owner. Of the dark-skinned women of the planet, no woman on this planet really has a real man, because no man is going to allow their women to be put in a position to go before the world and walk up and down a ramp talking about I'm sexy with your butt cheeks all out, slapping in the wind, and your vagina all it's just woo. It's just sickening. How can you go from this? Now, some of you would say she doesn't have natural hair and all this other bull crap, whatever. I did not say this sister was a perfect example. This African young lady, I did not say she was the perfect example. And I want to also mind you, all dark-skinned people don't have kinky hair. All dark-skinned people don't have kinky hair. So y'all really need to educate yourselves. But it makes no difference. Carry yourself with respect. Carry yourself with honor, dignity. Have some type of righteousness, morality to yourself. And then you wonder why nobody respects you, because you have been turned into an animal, actually worse than an animal. An animal knows no better. That part of the brain does not function. So what does that say about us, who claim to have more intelligence than the beasts of the field? I want to send a message to my little brother. Many of you on YouTube know him as Brother Ben X. I want to send a message not only to Brother Ben X, but all the members of the Nation of Islam, especially the younger people, especially the youth. I wish there was somebody like me that was around to tell me certain things. It makes no difference. This is not to cause you to dislike, question your faith or anything of that nature. However, when stories are told, if we are wise, we will seek to listen to both sides of the story rather than one side, because one side most times will be biased to their point of view. I have yet to see any religious teachings that was not biased against another belief or teachings so that it may protect itself, so that it may benefit from the conversion of others to that type of mentality. I only wish that I knew then what I knew now. I don't know how I would have responded, but I would at least like to know. So I am bringing a message to my brother Ben and my soul brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. In fact, not only the Nation of Islam, but we should question and we should look into all of these things that we decide we're going to dedicate our lives to, that we believe in. We should really understand exactly what we're getting into and what the result may be if we decide to walk that path for a long period of time. I have spoken, not personally with Brother Ben X, but through the comment sections of his videos, and I believe he did come to my video. Of course, it is natural that you want to defend your leader and your teacher. But Brother Ben sort of reminds me of myself when I was his age. I believe Brother Ben is around 22, 23 years old. I myself came into the Nation of Islam when I was 17 or just recently had turned 18 years old. And I did do at least 7 to 9 years with that organization. Now, telling the truth hurts. And I'm going to tell the truth about my experience. So, of course, we will say, well, just because you feel that way, because that's your experience, don't mean it's going to happen to me. That is true. However, the word that you're talking about or that we're missing is it could happen to you. It might, meaning it could happen to you. In fact, I would tell you it will happen to you, since you are not part of, or you in no near future, you're up in the upper echelon of the Nation of Islam hierarchy. One of your problems, Brother Ben, as a young person, is that, and it was my problem, because I believe, now listen, I want y'all to listen to me, as a young man, because I was dedicated, I believe that the Nation of Islam would take care of me. As long as I follow my orders, as long as I do what I'm told, the Nation of Islam would take care of me. This would be a delusional mentality. But I didn't know any better. I was 18 years old. I always wanted to join the Nation of Islam. And I have relatives that was part of the Nation of Islam. I wanted to be part of this. The Nation of Islam was something beautiful to look at. But see, from the outside looking in is one reality. But actually being there on the inside looking out, it makes reality very clear instead of this painting for the public. It's not real. The Nation of Islam, I'm sorry, the Nation of Islam will use you, brother, will use you, sister, soul brother. The Nation of Islam, and I'm not the only one that would tell you this, the Nation of Islam will use you for whatever you can give to it. There will be no benefits to you. None. Ask anybody, what is their actual benefit? Nobody is getting nothing out of the Nation of Islam except Louis Farrakhan and those who are close, like I said, within that circle. Here I am. Now listen. Here I am, 17, 18 years old. You are my elders. I'm surrounded by all these people that's supposed to be elders. Most of these people been on their jobs 10, 20 years. They are financially stable and whatever. I'm 18 years old, just came out of high school, never really had a job or anything. Nobody, none of my elders is looking out for my future, looking out for my benefit. They are happy that I'm doing the extra work, selling newspapers, selling bean pies or whatever. Nobody's looking at what is in the best interest of me. The Nation of Islam did not encourage me to go to college, did not encourage me to go to a trade school or anything. Sell bean pies, sell finer cars. That's all I basically did. There was nobody looking. Here's your young people. The only thing you want out of me, I'm a bean pie salesman and newspaper salesman. That's all. Stand on a post. That's all I am. Something to a tool. Now, I want to tell you this. See, I can talk because I put my time in. If it was not for my work, if it was not for my time, if it was not for my sacrifice, y'all couldn't say or do nothing. I was there first. I dedicated 9 temples. I worked on 9 temples. Putting down bricks. Picking up a paintbrush. I sold eggs in the cold. I was out in the cold selling eggs, and the eggs it was so cold the eggs was freezing and cracking. I stood in front of Minister Louis Farrakhan many times, willing to take a bullet for him, so I can talk. Now, like I said, I put all this time in. Nobody's looking out for my future. Nobody's doing nothing for me. So, during my process, my maturity, I decided I no longer believed. If I stayed in the Nation of Islam, I would be a hypocrite because I would be there, but I no longer believed. So I decided that I should part from the Nation of Islam. But we're still brothers, right? I'm the same brother. I just don't believe like that no more. I'm the same brother. We're supposed to be on the same side, but that's not how it goes. People get angry. They get upset. Now, mind you, you're not doing nothing for me. You have not created a job for me. You have not paid for me to go to school. You've done nothing for me. The only thing you've done is take, and then you get angry at me because now you can't use me anymore. See, this is the type of people this is the type of situation that you find yourself in. don't you allow yourself to be 20, 23, a young person in the Nation of Islam or none of these organizations, and these organizations not doing nothing for you. Do they buy you a car? Do they buy you a house? Put the title in my name, put the house in my name. Otherwise, you'll be like Malcolm X. And the suckers get mad at you. Give me my house. Give me my car. Malcolm was infatuated because he thought that the Nation of Islam would take care of him. But you have to understand, once you are used up, it's a whole different ball game. So, as many of you know, that I did get into some legal problems, and I called the Nation of Islam, and their response basically, well, brother, when you turn your back on Allah, what about the temples that I helped build? What about the eggs I sold? What about the ice cream that I sold? What about the pies and the posters? What about my 7 to 9 years of dedication? Am I not your brother? Apparently not. Apparently not. My uncle just recently died. And mind you, Louis Farrakhan, the people they know who I am. They know who my uncle is. My uncle recently died. And Louis Farrakhan did not send a letter of condolence or a phone call or nothing. And my uncle was right there in the beginning process, in the early 80s. My uncle went everywhere. Wherever Farrakhan went, my uncle wanted to be there. And when he died, you can't tell his widow, my aunt, you can't tell, but they don't care. They so infatuated with this person. They can't do no wrong. You make a mistake to become infatuated with celebrity. You tripping off thousands and thousands of people coming to a meeting. You don't have no car. You have no education. You have nothing for yourself. You done gave yourself to an organization that will not do nothing for you. I'm telling you from experience. It's a good thing I got out when I did. Suck all my energy, suck all my youth from me. And that's what's going to happen to you. So you smiling right now and you giggling. All praises due to Allah and all like that. But as you mature, you're going to realize you're not getting nothing. And all of it is an illusion. All of it is a show. And all the effort that you gave into it, once you leave that organization, they don't care nothing about you being a brother. They don't care nothing about you being a friend. Now they hate you because you can't be used no more. How can any of you disrespect me? All the time and all the sacrifice, all that I gave to the nation. I can talk. I'm not in the wrong. Support your brother. You want for your brother what you want for yourself. But you don't practice what you preach. I am doing this because not to attack somebody. Why do people always talking about when you critique their belief, when you critique their behavior, you are attacking them? We are not attacking anybody. We are presenting a point of view. We are suggesting, or we are revealing error and flaw into teachings and behaviors that don't make sense. And if something don't make sense, chances are it is not true. And if we are truth seekers, then we do not care about the popularity, or we do not care about if something sounds good. We are only interested in the truth. When you were in the Christian church, the pastor always talking about the truth of Jesus. When you are part of any religion, they always talk about the plain truth. The truth is always the truth. However, if truth does not fit into their belief system, then they have a problem with the truth that they say or they claim that they seek or what they want. Now, Nation of Islam teachings, very popular. And the reason why it is popular is because of the teaching taking advantage of the oppression and the struggle of dark-skinned people in this nation. The premise is not to liberate you, but to only transfer you from one slave master to another. From the American slave master, now you're going to an Arab voluntarily. Christianity was forced upon you. Now you are going to another religion voluntarily. I am told that Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life. The Holy Quran makes it very clear. I give to you Islam as a religion. So are you calling Allah a lie? Is that what you're doing? Because in the Quran it says that the God gave you Islam as a religion, not a way of life. A way of life does not have a name. You name something because somebody created whatever. So when you have your children, you name your children. Little Akbar, little Muhammad, whatever. But a lifestyle, a way of life has no label because men did not create nature. What is the nature of a tree? What do you call it? What is the nature of a deer? What is the nature of a bison? What is the nature of a goat? What are the technical, what is the name of their life? There is none. A way of life has no name unless it was created and manufactured and fabricated by somebody and they named it Islam. So we also accept Islam because, or the same way that we did Christianity. The slave master gave it to us. We didn't really examine what was given to us. We accepted it, we believed, and moved forward. The same thing with the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, Wallace Fard Muhammad. The only thing we did because of oppression, of the oppression, the racism that we face day in and day out, it sound good, and we really did not really think about and examine what we were taught. Nor did I, nor do anybody. It sounds good, sounds strong, and we run with it. I'm not interested in popularity. I'm not interested because I like it. I'm interested in truth. I'm interested in that which is real. And no religion gives us reality. None of them. Because if they represented reality, there would be no need for belief. Let me say this real quick. From How to Eat to Live, the teachings is, how do we say, okay, I want to say this. The nuts are not divinely prohibited. they put peanuts in the same category as nuts. The peanut is not a nut. It's a legume. It's in the bean family. It's a bean that grows under the ground. Another name for peanut is goober. It's not a nut. Just like a hot dog is not made out of a dog, it's made out of beef, chicken, or whatever. A hot dog is not made out of a dog. Not in America, maybe in China, Asia somewhere. These are the teachings that God gave you. Would not God know that peanuts is not a nut? Nuts come from trees. That's where nuts come from. It's not divinely prohibited. Muslims not supposed to eat, according to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You're not supposed to eat Brussels sprouts, but you can eat cabbage. Brussels sprouts is in the cabbage family. Why you can't eat is not never explained. Brussels sprouts is in the same family as cabbage. It's a cabbage. How come you can't eat? Why you're not supposed to be able to eat the Brussels sprout, but you can eat cabbage, but Brussels sprouts is a cabbage? See, these things sort of was clicking with me, but because you believe, you let things slide. Okay, whatever. Then, of course, divinely prohibited is the pig. People have been eating pig for centuries. There are people who will outlive you, be healthier than you, eating pig. That's a fact. I have seen no evidence to show that people who eat pig live less than those who don't. I don't see it. The reality and the facts is you get sick. You just get sick. That's just the bottom line. Also, the pig is supposed to be such a nasty and filthy animal, but we must remember that the pig is put in an unnatural environment. The swine, the pig, is in the hippopotamus family. And if you look and study pigs in their natural environment, you will see that most times they like nuts and berries. They always digging for roots. They have no sweat glands. That's why they will flop around in mud or whatever, because they have no sweat glands. That's their only way to cool off. People who have pigs as pets will tell you they are not as nasty and filthy as you talk about. We're talking about those pigs who are getting ready to go to the slaughterhouse that's denied the correct environment. Then, of course, you will see them behave in a different manner. Now, in conclusion, from time to time, we're going to talk about the Nation of Islam teachings. And I want to reference Message to the Black Man of America, page 31, chapter, Original Man, Know Thyself. In this chapter, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaks about the tribe of Shabazz. And let me read a little bit. Who is this tribe of Shabazz? Originally, they were the tribe that came with the earth, or this part of the earth, 66 trillion years ago. Okay, how do you know this? What's your evidence? See, what evidence? Who is this tribe of Shabazz? What evidence do you have that such a people ever existed? Then a great explosion on the planet. One of the scientists was dissatisfied because just one guy, one of the scientists, wanted everybody to speak the same language. He got pissed off, so he decided, I'm going to blow up the earth. That's insane. This is the original people, tribe of Shabazz. This is how they think. Wow. But Islam represents peace. Here you got a guy, the original man. These are the original people, remember. And I'm going to blow up the earth. Now, problem. Do you know how much explosive that you would have to have in order to do such a thing. How long it would take to plant that type of explosive. How many people. How much time. Then, once it explodes, it's going to affect the whole planet. It's not just going to explode and boom, this part goes. That's not how things work. If your car get hit from the rear, it affects the whole car. If you get hit in the face, it affects the whole body. So you tell me how this part of the earth got blown to bits, but the rest of the planet, everything is A-OK. That's not how things work. Makes no sense. Then this chunk of the planet turns into the moon, and the water that was supposed to be on the moon stays on the earth. But when things explode, it splashes everywhere. But for some reason, all the water decides, I'm going to go back to the earth. Now, mind you, while all this is going on, the earth is still, the earth is still like this. The earth is still perfectly round. How is that possible? When you look at the moon, it's round. You look at the earth, it's round. How can things be, blow something up, blow a chunk of something off? It's not going to. I did have an example of a cookie. You bite the cookie and you'll see the part where you bit off. It's no longer going to be round. How is all this possible? Do you know how many people would die if something like that would happen on the other part of the planet? Matter of fact, the earth itself would probably be destroyed. Because those of you who know about how the earth is made, in the center of the earth is magma. And that part of a big chunk like that would be blown off. Magma would probably leak and it would go, you would have a disaster on your hands. But these people lived through all that 66 trillion years ago. They don't, look, y'all, it makes no more sense than Jesus walking on water. It makes no more sense than causing the physical dead to be brought back to life, the talking of the burning bush and all the stuff that's in the Bible. It's the same kind of thing. It makes no sense. Wow. Come on. Why are you going to get angry at me? Because your teaching don't make any sense. Then you want to talk about Christians. That stuff don't make no. These teachings don't make sense. None of these religious teachings make any sense. That's why you are asked to believe. Believe it or let it alone. I choose to let it alone because I'm grown. I'm mature. I don't have time for Mickey Mouse fantasy teachings. Now, mind you, I was like many of you out there in YouTube land. I was taught and I was brought up, as many of you, in the belief in what we call the transatlantic slave trade. And over 100 million Africans died during that period of time and whatever. I grew up the same way you did. Roots. Kunta Kinte came on a boat from Africa, and now it has been I'm tongue-tied. That's because I really don't feel like making a video, but I want to. That's how it go. But it was brought to my attention that Alex Haley was sued. He was not the author of Roots. He plagiarized the story from some other source. Alex Haley was sued. Those who published Roots they were sued and they lost. Alex Haley plagiarized Roots. The whole story was a fabrication. And see, I can't ignore truth. When somebody shows me things like this, I cannot just, because I want to believe in the Kunta Kinte story, I can't just say, oh man, that's a bunch of baloney. All these excuses. The white man did this and no, blah blah. No, there's a problem if somebody takes you to court and they win and call and made a claim that you plagiarized their work. The information that I have, the estate of Alex Haley is getting no royalties from Roots or anything of that nature because he was not the creator. It was found that the whole thing was false. Now, I guess this was done after the death of Alex Haley. I'm not sure when it happened. But when you have information like that, we just cannot ignore it. But that's how it is when we like something, we believe something, we just ignore it. You really love this woman. She's so fine. She got a big butt and whatever. But somebody tell you she messing with her ex-boyfriend. You don't want to believe that. You try to block it out of your mind because you're so in love with this woman. But she is messing around with her ex-boyfriend, and everything that is being said, the rumors, everything is true. But that's how we are. We don't want to get hurt. We don't want to be proven wrong. That's really what it's about. We don't want to be hurt. It's a hurting thing to believe in the Kunta Kinte story and it's a lie. Okay, for me, the Kunta Kinte story, cool. It's plagiarized. I have no problem with that. Doesn't bother me at all. Wow. Believed in that at one time. Just like this transatlantic slave trade. I don't have to make a video in detail about or present the information, the evidence. There are many videos on social media, YouTube and elsewhere, brothers and sisters who have done their research, many of them using common sense and logic also. They are disproving the transatlantic slave trade. But see, that's a story that a lot of us, we were raised on and we love. Very popular. But for me, if it's a lie, it's a lie. I remember when I first heard somebody saying that the transatlantic slave trade is not true and that the black man and woman, soul brothers and sisters of America, we are not Africans. When I first heard that, I was just like, y'all, oh man, come on, get out of here. You just don't want to be an African. I was saying the same thing. And me being who I am, I put up a decent defense. Still could. But just because you can put up a decent defense and these particular people are having a hard time defending their position does not make me right. It just means that I had the skill, I have the ability to defend my belief. My logic does not make them wrong. However, since I am open to the truth, I cannot just ignore what they're talking about. Let me investigate. Let me start doing some thinking on my own. So, within the last few years, I really began to ponder about this transatlantic slave trade, we are African thing. And I have come to the conclusion, and many of you see it in recent videos, that I am no longer going with the popular story that we have been told. Matter of fact, I asked the question, who is the one behind the transatlantic slave trade story? none other than the people that y'all call devil, none other than the people that y'all call liars and deceivers and manipulators. They are the ones who are pushing that black folks, the soul brothers and sisters in America, we are Africans, the transatlantic slave trade. Now I want to bring something to us, and we want to experiment. We need to stop being loyal to things that clearly are being proven as false. I'm not interested in feeling good. Truth hurts. Wow. Somebody misguided me. Somebody gave. I'm a victim of miseducation. Well, it hurts. I can easily get over it. I want the truth. I want to know really what's going on here. Now, there was a video that I saw which made me think. A person put a modern ship. This is not from the 1600s, 1500s, 1800s. This is a modern day ship going across the Atlantic Ocean. You also have to keep in mind hurricane season. The Atlantic Ocean is probably one of the most violent oceans on the planet. Very active. So we see this ship, a modern day ship, catching hell going across the Atlantic Ocean. I want you to think about this. Look at how slaves were placed in those ships. You have ankles on your wrists. You have something around your waist, I would assume, and of course on your ankles. The slaves, this is what you have to think about. The victims, the slaves, they were chained to prevent escape. They were not packaged in the boat to prevent being killed, being damaged. When you put a package, send it to FedEx or the United States Postal Service or UPS or whatever, if it's fragile, the slave will be considered fragile. So you put those bubble gum things all in the package, and you have to secure it, because when those packages are in that truck, first of all, you're going to have problems just because of the handling of the packages. Then that truck is bouncing up and down and shaking, and it would destroy something that's fragile that's riding in that truck. Let's do a simple experiment. Tie some string around your wrist. Put some string around your waist. Put a little string around your ankles. These represent the chains. Remember, these people are not wearing clothes. They are butt naked. So the iron, the chain, is actually on the skin. Now get in your bed. Let somebody tie you down with a little string. And then this is something good, fun for your children. Tell your children to jump on your bed. That will cause you to bounce up and down. Now what's going on? While those children this represents what's happening on that ship. Now, this is not nothing to say about seasickness. The slaves, these people would have terrible bouts with seasickness. So many of them would starve from throwing up their food, and some of them would throw up because they would regurgitate their food anyway. Where is all this food being kept? So here you are, you're chained down. Let your children bounce on the bed. What will happen? You'll feel the strings around your wrists and your ankles tighten up while you're bouncing. And if it's really tight, it'll start cutting into your flesh. In fact, if the bouncing, if it's vigorous enough, if you was chained down in a boat, it will break your wrists, break your ankles, tear you to pieces. See, you have to consider, you have to take this into consideration. And these people are supposed to be traveling on a boat in this condition for months and months and months. Come on now. See, something about that's not right. Then these victims are defecating and urinating on the boat. So you also, tell your children, so get a glass of water and a wet donut that represents the feces, and get some water that represents the urine. And while your children is bouncing on the bed, try to hold on, what will happen to the feces and the water? It's going to bounce everywhere. So how did they keep that ship clean? You can't even take the smell. I was in a public bathroom not too long ago. Soon as I smelled what was coming out the public bathroom, I decided I just keep holding on and go somewhere else. It was horrible. So you can imagine the stench. How could those sailors, let alone, how could somebody live in that for months and months and months? The slaves definitely could not. And the Caucasian, the sailors, they couldn't tolerate no stuff like that. Bouncing around, feces and urine thrown everywhere. The people, the bodies had to be smashed and cracked up. See, I got a problem with that, because that don't make no sense. How are you going to, here you are, how could you do it? Look what's happening to you on your bed. So imagine if it was chains. Imagine if you was defecating with 80 other people on this boat. Well, some of the slaves made it. Nobody was going to make this journey. There would be no survivors. It's too much going on. You got too much filth. You got too much ocean doing too many things. It's just the whole stuff. The whole story don't make any, it's not vibing. Who's telling the story? Who's pushing it? The racists. Why they pushing it? Because they would rather you look to Africa rather than right here under your feet where you was created, where you was born.
Excuse me, brothers and sisters, please. If someone could just turn off.
King looked out on his people and saw they were in great need. So he did what all great leaders do. He told them the truth.
Will you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up?
He just said what I think he said.
Is this it?